I think we're live. Still getting used to this. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Um, we're going to be streaming Stardew Valley today, just like last time. A little bit of an introduction because I realized I was so hyped last time, I totally forgot to introduce myself. My name is Ariana. I am the co-director of the Consent Academy, a Seattle-based nonprofit that is focused on promoting consent culture throughout the world and exploring consent in all of its different forms and possibilities and applications. We like to say consent is for everyone and it's useful from the bedroom to the boardroom. So it's part of everyday life. And today I'm going to be playing Stardew Valley and talking about community and consent and the meaning of consent and answering chat's questions. Um, I finally added Nightbot. Never done that before, so we'll see how well it goes. Um, oh, I see Kettlestick in chat wrote, I had this up in a tab, it totally scared me. I am sorry, Kettlestick. Hopefully the scare is calming down and you just feel excited now instead of amped up in a bad way. Anyway, we're going to be rejoining our farm, Castle Farm. We named the character Ariel. Um, as you can see here, my other farm that I play with my spouse is Provence Farm, and I play as Gaston. Um, don't read too much into that. Anyway, um, welcome everybody. And yeah, so we are just in the beginning of our days in Castle Farm. You know, it's like a sand castle, beach farm. Also, oh, before I forget, Happy Lunar New Year, everyone. If you are like me and were born in the year of the tiger, good luck. This will be a challenging year. Uh, anyway, happy Lunar New Year. Okay, let's see the spirits for the day. Are they happy? Somewhat annoyed. Well, it's a good way to start off the year because it's my curse year in Chinese mythology and also a lot of other things. Anyway, got a letter here from Robin. Robin here, you know there's a lot of stones scattered around your farm. If you have a surplus, you might consider having me build a well for you. Wells can be placed all over your farm and serve as convenient places to fill your watering can. Okay, cool. So it's like an advertisement. All right. Oh, I have another letter. Dear Farmer Ariel, I'd like to apologize for joking about your grandpa's old cottage when we first met. It's really a nice little house. You know, I appreciate this apology. This is a good apology. I'd like to apologize for, not I'd like to apologize if, but I'd like to apologize for. It's a good start to a good apology. And then being explicit about what you're apologizing for. But this is where it goes a little off the rails. However, you might need some more space someday. It's like, yeah, okay, this is like an apology and a compliment plus an advertisement. Let's say, this is where I can help. If you bring me some raw materials and pay a fee, I can expand your house. Continue on the next page. So Robin just is giving me two ads back to back. I feel like that's not necessarily the best advertising sort of way of doing things, but you know, I don't know. Okay, well, it is year of the ox. So last year was your bad luck year. Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's over for you. Um, all right, so I can harvest two parsnips, and then I'm gonna water these plants. So for those of you who weren't able to join me last time, and even for those of you who were, I want to start with just a tiny bit of a review on the sort of like model of consent that we use at Consent Academy. The first thing to always stress is we're not trying to say like these things are good, these things are bad. In general, I don't believe in the idea of good people and bad people. I just believe there are people and we all do good and bad things. Some of us do a lot more bad things than others, but you know, it's life. So then, let's see, what am I gonna do today on this farm? I'm gonna get rid of some of these rocks. So then basically what we're talking about is not saying like, this is always bad, this is always good. If you just follow these rules, consent will be perfect. We're basically just talking about risk reduction. And it's important to know that no amount of risk reduction will ever equal prevention. You can't prevent harm from happening, and you can't prevent, we all cause harm. Like, I've definitely hurt people. People have definitely hurt me. There's definitely been problems in life. And that's just part of life. And we can do work, though, to try to reduce the risk of these things. And so that's really what we're going to be talking about, is a very much a risk reduction model of sort of talking about consent. And it's always important to stress that consent, the etymology of it's really useful. It literally means with feeling. And consent, again, is not about like perfect logic. If you just pre-plan everything, nothing will ever go wrong. It's about how we feel about things. There have been plenty of things in life that I've said yes to at one point and then later been like, oof, I don't know if I actually enjoyed that, or oof, that might have not been a good idea, or whatever. Things where I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds like a great idea. I'm going to go try this new hobby or sport. And then the person telling me, hey, come join me in this rock climbing gym, says that they know how to teach me things, and then they don't really, and I get injured. And I consented to some of it, but I didn't consent to all of it. So we're talking about sort of the grayness of consent. It's complicated. Also, I think I'm dropping some frames, so I'm going to close out of my Discord in the meantime to maybe improve my frame rate and turn down the brightness of my screen. We'll see if that helps. Usually is all I need to do with this game. Anyway, so basically we're talking about risk reduction. Risk reduction, not the same thing as prevention, and this is also where a lot of conversations about consent can get kind of murky, because people will say, well, you could have done all of these risk prevention or risk reduction, risk reduction things, because you didn't, that means that what happened is your fault, or is what you must have wanted, or you should have realized these things. And those things are forms of victim blaming. I don't remember if I talked about victim blaming last time, but it's important to know victim blaming is a self-protective instinct. It sounds surprising to people sometimes. What do you mean victim blaming? How is blaming someone else for a bad thing that happened to them about self-protection? I'll explain. Basically, our brains are constantly trying to predict the future. Our brains constantly want to believe the future will be like the past. The future will be like the past. Our brains take lots of shortcuts to try to process all of the sensory information we're getting. We get so much sensory information every day that if we tried to process all of it, it would take us forever to process even a couple of seconds of information, right? Like it's just, we get so much sensory data in all the time. So our brains are trying to take shortcuts to help us process the world around us. And these shortcuts are what we call cognitive biases. They're basically errors in logic that happen because we are trying to make sure that we process all the information fast. Okay, I'm going to come back to this because there's a very cute cutscene about to happen. Don't forget cognitive biases. I'm outside the Pelican Town Community Center, and there's Mary Lewis. Oh, hi there. Oh, hi, Mark. ... What an eyesore. This is the Pelican Town Community Center, or what's left of it anyway. It used to be the pride and joy of the town, always bustling with activity. Now just look at it, it's shameful. These days, the young folk would rather sit in front of the TV than engage with the community. But listen to me, I sound like an old fool. No, you don't. You don't sound like an old fool. Jojo Corporation has been hounding me to sell them the land so they can turn it into a warehouse. Don't do it, Mary Lewis. Don't do it. It's a trap. Pelican Town could use the money, but there's something stopping me from selling it. I guess old timers like me get attached to relics of the past. Ah, well. No, it's just your communities will be healthier if you keep this and make it into a community center. If anyone else buys a Jojo Cola membership, I'm gonna just go ahead and sell it. Sigh. Here, let's go inside. This is one of those dilemmas where it's like, I really can be a bit completionist about video games, and so I want to get all the achievements. But one of the achievements for this game is to do the Jojo Cola storyline. But I feel like such a revulsion to that storyline that I'm like, no, I can't do it. And we'll see. We'll see if I ever get that achievement. All right. Mary Lewis says, what's this? I guess Vincent and Yaz must have been playing here. Oh, he sees the Junimo hut. That's probably what he's talking about. This place is even more dilapidated than I remember. Yeah. It's not a good part of the story. It feels weird. Oh, and then look, I can see one of the Junimos. And I'm like, wah! And Mary Lewis is like, what? Doesn't see it. What's the matter? Are you ill? Reminds me of all the times my doctors have questioned my understanding of reality. Anyway. Or they're trying to say, I'm not ill. It's in my head. Anyway, you saw something. I wouldn't be surprised if this place was full of rats. Ah, another Junimo. What is that? Oh, nice. Thank you for joining us. You're in year 5 of your first game. The Jojo Co-op storyline hasn't progressed much yet. Okay, good to know. All right, so Lewis says to me, you're worrying me, Ariel. Look, I think I'm going to head home. I need some lunch. Yeah, probably my character is also just in need of some blood sugar. Hey, I'll keep this place unlocked from now on. Maybe you can help catch that rat if you've got some extra time. All right. Yeah, no spoilers, please. Okay. I'll try. I'll have to come back and explore this building further. Yes. All right. So we were talking about how things like victim blaming are self-protective instinct, and I was explaining why that is. So I was talking about cognitive biases, all of the different shortcuts our brain takes to try to process all the massive amounts of information that we get every day and every second. You know, we can't process it all, so we have to take shortcuts. And it's leads to some negative consequences sometimes. Have I said hi to you yet? Hello, you must be Ariel, the new farmer Caroline. All right. Okay, let's see. Who else do I need to say hi to? So the thing is, as I mentioned, our brains are always trying to predict that the future will be like the past. And because of that, when something happens that is outside of our predictions, that it's kind of confusing for our brains because we really depend on this idea that the future will be like the past. We need it in order to be able to do other things in life, to be able to move through the world with confidence. You know, I think some good examples of this are like most of us don't really check both ways before we cross the street a lot of the time. We kind of just assume it's going to be safe, and we half check. And this is why sometimes even when you do check, you can still bump into somebody or suddenly a car is honking at you and you're like, oh, I could have sworn I checked. And it's because a lot of the time our brain isn't really processing all of that information. It's just, again, assuming the future and the present will be like the past. So anyway, this sort of builds up into this sort of need to protect this sense of reality. So when something happens to somebody that is frightening to us, that's scary because we don't want to think that the future won't be like the past and that we're going to somehow make a big mistake and something's going to go wrong. So that's where we get into this cognitive bias called the just world theory or the just world error. And basically, it is an extension of these future predicting cognitive biases in which, oh no, I can hear someone said, I need to talk to the wizard, but I don't know when I'll get to. Okay. Anyway, it's when something goes wrong, my brain is like, I need to figure out what I would have done differently so that I can hold on to my sense that the future will be like the past. Because if it's not, then my whole sense of reality is broken. And I don't know what I'm going to do about that. So an example of this is, say your friend gets an Uber or a Lyft and the Uber or the Lyft driver robs them, right? It's very scary. A lot of us, Yaz here, Yaz is not here. I need to say hello to this little girl. I don't want to just lurk in her house though and wait for her. That feels weird. All right. Anyway. So, if my friend gets robbed by an Uber or Lyft driver, I've taken many Ubers and Lyft in my life and never had anything bad happen. So that happening to somebody I know is scary. That's going to make me be like, oh shit, could that happen to me? So that's why I don't want to believe that it could. So that's why I'm going to start asking questions like, well, did you double check that the name matched the name on the app? Did you double check the license plate? Why didn't you just jump out of the car as soon as you had any suspicions, etc., etc.? The problem is, especially those questions of why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Is that we have so much more evidence and experience to say that things are going to be okay than to say that things are going to be not, that it's actually a lot of the time unreasonable to expect ourselves to be in that kind of super cautious state, right? So, an example of this is we don't check that the elevator car has actually arrived every time before we step into the elevator. We just have so much evidence to say when the elevator door is open, the elevator car is there and it is safe to step forward, that we might step into the elevator shaft going backwards because we're talking to somebody or we're looking at our phone or whatever. And so it's pretty reasonable for our brains to just be relying on the pre-processed information that we have to try to move through the world at an efficient pace. So if you're in a situation where this driver is taking a strange detour, I'm not sure what's happening, that's because you're getting incongruent information. That's essentially what's happening when you feel like someone or something is creepy. That means that you're getting contradictory information, at least subconsciously. Someone who, say, doesn't blink very often will seem creepy to us because we have this sense subconsciously of what a normal blink rate is like, and our brain is like, okay, there's something incongruous here, something that doesn't match, and that's why this feels creepy. So anyway, this all kind of adds together to when someone tells us about something really bad that happened to them that is scary, it's very instinctual to try to figure out, how do I know I'm going to still be safe? What can I find in this person's story that I would have done differently so that I don't now also have to worry about the Uber or the Lyft driver robbing me? And so this is, though, not a healthy thing to do, especially because, the main factor in predicting if somebody is going to develop a sort of long-term stress disorder or if the trauma that they experience from something is going to have a very long-term impact versus something kind of short, acute, that's eventually integrated, is not actually the severity of the trauma that they experience, but the community response to it. And, that's a big thing to think about, right? Is what happened to the person is not as important in many ways as the way people respond to what happened. But that, I'm not even chopping the street, but that can also help inform how we approach these things. So like the ways to not do victim blaming is to, one, don't give advice without explicit consent. That's just one of my rules of life. I never try to give advice without consent. And an example is like this stream is pretty much going to be always a little bit of me talking about our framework and our system, which is in some ways giving advice. But that's sort of the dynamic we have here. And if someone doesn't want it, they can always leave. I'm out of energy. Unfortunate. Okay. And when it comes to friends or people we kind of know or strangers on the internet, giving them advice when they're not asking for it, people are not going to want to hear that. But the other thing is that avoid just asking questions like why didn't or why did or you should have. Any of those kinds of things, basically you can safely avoid those. And if you avoid that, you're not going to get into victim blaming, most likely. I wrote a document years ago of different types of victim blaming and victim shaming and what they look like and how to avoid them. And I will post it on my Twitter and the Consent Academy Twitter for you to look at afterwards. Oh, it's Queen of Sauce Day. Yeah, it's Sunday. Woohoo! Hello, new viewer. So anyway, that is that idea. So then going back to this talking about consent in general, consent is, again, part of everyday life. It's part of every interaction that we have. It's important and essential for good interactions, but it's also not possible to perfectly prearrange everything. So some of consent is about discovery. Some of consent is about communicating with each other and figuring out, well, how much of this do we really want to do? And then the important thing is when someone says, okay, I want to do this, and we're exploring something like, you know, playing a video game together or a board game. I'll have friends who I like to play board games with, but I usually have to say to them, like, let's play in a way that feels good to us. Like if I have a friend who likes to always be the sort of betrayer, even in games without betrayer mechanics, I sometimes have to say to them, hey, like, let's put that aside this time, because I want to play a game with you, but in my agreement of this, I don't want to play it that way. So it's also about discovery. So I've been talking a little bit. I want to look at some of the things in chat, because I haven't been able to really look at chat too much, and just see what's going on. What are people saying? So Krellin pointed out that Robin has a local monopoly on carpentry, so she doesn't need good advertising. I 100% agree with you. Lo-Fi Prince wrote, I'm Toad, but this is a meme account I made for my 3D printer. Oh, and I was born in the year of the rabbit. Nice. So I was born on the last day of the year of the tiger. So almost a rabbit. So next year will be a challenge year for you. So if you follow, you know, Chinese astrology and that kind of thing. And I partially follow it because it's a slightly important thing in my lineage of Buddhism. And so even though I'm not Chinese or from a country that traditionally celebrates Lunar New Year, it is in my religion important. And also I'm superstitious despite my best efforts. And it makes me feel calm thinking about horoscopes and stuff. So then Krellin also wrote, a lot of people think consent is one and done instead of ongoing. Yeah, absolutely. It's something that's ongoing and something that we can adjust and modify in the moment. Yeah, I've just been standing outside of Pierre's for like an hour, like just staring at the schedule. Missed that he opened the shop. Gotta buy some more seeds because I am not wealthy yet in this game. Okay, let's just get some potatoes. Potatoes are good. Sometimes you can get lucky and get more than one potato. Yeah, And I see, Krellin, you were talking about how the Joja Mart storyline is actually maybe not terrible because it allows you to do other things. And I totally believe that. I think that it takes more time when you're not doing it that way to sort of build up everything and to get the sort of, how do I want to say this? I don't remember the word I'm looking for. Just to get the whole sort of machinery of it going. Having the sprinklers and then having the system and getting the Junima huts and yeah. All right, I've gotta investigate the community center. It's very sad. It's very dilapidated. It's got a lot of character still. I like it. I like creaky floors. It was a big selling point of the current place I live was the creaky floors. Oh, what's this? There's a Junimo. And a bunch of language I can't understand. I watered it with my watering can. Let's see if that helps. Okay, all right. I think this is where I will get to talk to the wizard. I think that's how this goes. Also, I think today is Mayor Lewis's birthday, but I also am pretty sure I don't have anything to give him that he likes. Like if I tried to give him something, he would probably be offended at me. So I'm gonna avoid it. Oh, hello. What are you up to? Oh, no. Okay. All right, so I have 28 gold left to my name, but I have 7 potato seeds. So let's go plant some potatoes. So this round, yeah, I'm playing the beach farm, but if you were here last time, you know I never have done that before, so I don't actually know all of the ins and outs of the beach farm. And this is the first solo game I've played, so it can be a little bit, we'll see how this goes. I'm not sure how successful I'll be at all of these tasks. Things are probably going to take me a little bit longer. But yeah. Do I dislike game-related advice? No, you can totally give me suggestions. I like this game, but I'm not necessarily very good at it. I constantly water the ground, for example. And I appreciate you asking. Good question. All right. Let's see. It's only 1:30. What else do I want to get up to today? Okay. Well, I need to get to farming level 1. Oh, Lewis will like the daffodil. Okay, awesome. Thank you. I'm going to go do that right now. Yeah. Okay, I got a daffodil. I'm going to put it over my head because I love running around with the flowers on my head. Not love, but like, okay. Yeah, good to know, though. Good to know. Alrighty. Where are you? There you are, Lewis. Yeah. Let's do this. Oh, a birthday gift. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Kettle Stick. I really appreciate that. So Lewis also says, I've been mayor of Pelican Town for over 20 years. Is it because no one's run against you, or is it because you're a good mayor? The world may never know. Because no one's ever going to run against you. Hey, George. Oh, no. Aren't you cold? They don't make sweaters like they used to. You know, George always makes me sad. Because I think he's not super happy about getting older. And I understand that. And I think that it can be really hard when your body changes on you in ways that you don't want or expect. And I'm not going to reveal all of his storyline because it's very interesting, but he always makes me kind of sad. Probably partially because when I was a kid, I used to volunteer at a lot of like nursing homes, like memory care centers, and especially because people wouldn't visit because it was too painful. So a lot of the elderly residents would just be alone all the time. So I used to do a lot of visiting because I wanted to, cheer them up. But George reminds me of a lot of them. All right, Harvey says, I'm struggling to make ends meet. I don't have enough patience. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things that's tough about like small town doctors, right? They can really struggle, but if they leave, then the community is left without any medical care, which makes them a lot more vulnerable. So this is why we need universal basic income, right? Because you need to be able to subsidize this. You can't expect the population to be like so unhealthy or so like constantly getting checkups that a town this small could be supported by or could support a doctor. And it's really risky to not have one, especially if the nearest town's kind of far away. Like, what if you're having a stroke or a heart attack, or you like accidentally cut yourself with a chainsaw chopping down a tree and now you're like, oh gosh, I'm bleeding, I need help quickly. You really want to have that. And so it's a good example of how not everything needs to be profitable to be important. Also, yes, shade at Lewis. There's some decisions Lewis makes about many things that I have a little question on the ethics of it, and also the point. Anyway, we'll get into that when we see those decisions. Well, I'm sorry, Harvey, that you're struggling. All right, come here, little kid. I want to say hi to you. Hey, Vincent. Hey there, miss. Hey, we're both redheads, so we should be friends. All right, let's see if today I can finally say hello to Yaz. It has been difficult to find. Oh, there she is. Can I get her? She went into her house. Let's see if I can say hi to her. All right. Yeah. Yes. Journal updated. Yeah, it says, do you want something? Yeah, I'm sorry, little kid. It is kind of weird for me to just run in your house and be like, hey, kid. That's strange. It is indeed strange. Nope, I literally just wanted to say hi to you so I could get the points. All right, what did I get for that? How to win friends. Give someone a gift now. Okay. And the quest says, giving gifts is a great way to build friendships, learning each person's individual tastes, and you'll be popular in no time. See, I think this is actually good, like, friend and consent practice, right? I like that in this game, not everybody likes every gift that you give them, and it can hurt the relationship. I wish that was more complicated than the simple sort of mechanics of this, but it makes sense for this game. Yeah, Orchrist, it's a little bit transactional, but it's also like, gifts can be forms of manipulation and forms of pressure. There's this really great book that I had to read in undergrad called Wrapping Culture, and it very much reads like a PhD thesis turned into a book, but it's about Japanese culture and analyzing all the different ways of wrapping, both physically wrapping gifts and like the way houses are set up and the way cities are set up and like kimonos and all of this sort of wrapping around it. But there's a lot of discussion around the power that happens when someone gives someone else a gift. And an example I always thought of was how I remember for like my 20th birthday or my 19th birthday, I was a university student and my dad was like, I really want to get you a gift. And all I wanted was an Xbox 360. I was just like, please, please, please. I really want an Xbox 360. And instead, I got a gift certificate to Banana Republic. I was not someone who wore Banana Republic stuff at that time. And I get it. My dad's busy and like he was probably at Banana Republic buying clothes for himself. But at the time, it felt to me like he was telling me, this is how I want you to dress. You're not a kid anymore. No more Hot Topic. No more ripped up jeans with too many safety pins in them. This is how I want you to dress. And it felt frustrating to me as a kid. Now, years later, I'm like, yeah, all that stuff I bought at Banana Republic I still have, and I still like it, and it's good quality, good work clothing and stuff, which is nice, because I have to dress in a certain way to perform business-wise. But I think it's a good example of how giving gifts can be a form of control. And people also have the right to say no to gifts. An example of this is like I had a friend, I would say an acquaintance, right? Someone I didn't actually really know who um, he had a lot of money and he had like built like a refinished his basement to make it into like a dance practice studio because he was part of the same dance scene as me, and he definitely really wanted friends and struggled to make them, and he really thought that the way to make them was to just sort of be very, very giving, especially monetarily. And I think that that can be a good way to do it. And he would invite people over so they could practice in his dance space. He had like a sprung wooden floor, and everything was very, very nice in many ways. And he would also provide people with like food and drinks, and it was very giving. You know, I did not have any negative feelings about this guy, but I didn't really know him. You know, I had come to, it was a Balboa dance practice a few times at his place, but I didn't really talk to him. And we only really knew each other in passing. And one day he tells me that for me and my partner, he bought us like full weekend passes to this very expensive dance event and a bunch of other things. It was probably like 400 plus dollars that he spent on this. And to me, that really made me nervous because one, I've had weird experiences in my past with people and money, and so I can be kind of sensitive to people spending money on me, especially without having a real connection with them first. But my next thing was like, what are the expectations around this? Am I going to be expected to like spend my whole weekend hanging out with him when I like don't really know him and don't know I actually have anything to say? Or like, does this mean that he feels like he'll get more access to me or want something in return? And so I felt really conflicted about getting this gift because I was like, you know, it's great in the sense of he's got a lot more money, like really a lot more money than I will ever have, and he's a lot more financially stable than me, and he can afford to do these things that I can't, and it's really nice, and I do appreciate it. Like I was not unappreciative. Yeah, but there were unknown applied strings attached, and so I felt weird about it. And this is a great example of how like even something that seems very one directional can really need consent involved. And it's also okay for somebody to turn down a gift, even if it sucks, even if we're like, oh, I spent so much time thinking about this. You know, it's the same with people turning down friendship. This is another one of those things that I've taught a lot of classes where we get into really deep examples around like the nuances of consent and, you know, different sort of considerations, especially for people in any kind of position of leadership within a community, which ends up meaning that you have all these responsibilities and both ethically, but also people leave you with the bag. They like hold you responsible for things all the time. And it can be really a lot of pressure for people in leadership, like someone who runs a dance practice space or who hosts like a weekly, you know, rock climbing jam or something. I don't know what people do with rock climbing. You know, get together and practice guitar in my house with me. We're gonna jam together. Like that becomes a form of, you know, it's unstructured sort of leadership, not unofficial leadership, but it's still kind of a leadership thing. So I teach a lot of classes about dealing with the nuances of consent. Well, not just me, Consent Academy. It's our Consent for Leadership or Consent and Leadership series. It's had 2 different names. And we'll often go through these examples. And people sometimes will get into the examples around information. Like, we have one of our pillars of consent is that everybody needs to have enough information to know exactly what it is they're consenting to and any information that's relevant. And the thing is, you can't know what you don't know. So if someone's withholding information from you that would change your mind if you knew it, but you don't know to ask because it's something very outside of your expectations, then it's, you know, it's really one of those things where the person needs to be forthcoming. And remember, we're not in a binary of like, if something is not perfectly consensual, this person is evil and whatever. It's no, it's means that a mistake was made, consent was maybe violated or bent or, not upheld totally, and that some adjustment needs to be made or amends needs to be made or something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that something malicious happened, right? But people would get really nervous at this idea. And one of the things that would happen a lot is we would talk about examples of times where people consented to something, and then later they find out information about the person that they consented to do something with or whatever that changes their mind, and whether or not, and they feel violated or they feel like they were tricked or something, and whether or not this is non-consensual then. And again, remember, consent is a lot about feeling. So if the person feels their consent was violated, then that's true for them. And an example is like if someone says, go on a date with me, and you ask, are you available for a relationship? And they say, no, I'm not interested in having any sort of long-term relationship. Let's just go on a casual date. Okay. But then later you find out that that person is married. And you think, I would have never consented to go on this. And they're not in an open relationship, right? They're genuinely like cheating on their spouse. Well, you might think, I never would have consented to go on a date with this person had I known that they were married. And you're okay with the date otherwise, though. Nothing bad happened during the date, but it's still not consensual, because if you're saying I never would have consented to this had I known this, well then, that's pretty clear, right? Like this person should have told you, especially if you asked, that's pretty relevant information. Most people aren't really cool with cheating. And oh my God, I just axed one of my crops again. Do that all the time. Anyway, try to water it, I axed it. Anyway, it's this asymmetry of information. The more asymmetry there is, the more risky it is, the more dangerous it can be. And it's tricky because I don't always know everything another person doesn't. I've been, say, playing role-playing games since I was a teenager. I've played Dungeons and Dragons since I was like 14, and I have a lot of experience. I know what to expect with Dungeons and Dragons. But someone who's never played it before doesn't know what to expect. And I don't remember necessarily what it was like when I first started playing and the things I didn't know at the beginning. And so it's difficult, right? So then what do we do about that? So I'm going to think about what do we do when we have this kind of asymmetry, and I don't necessarily remember what information a person's going to need. So I'm going to read this letter I got from the wizard. I always love that the wizard's letters come on this really cool, beautiful paper. Maybe a little bit of like Egyptian revival happening with the pyramids, but there also looks to be like some Greek or Roman columns in there, and some Junimos. So a little bit of like maybe New Age-ism or in like neo-paganism or something where like people are taken from everything. But the wizard is also a cowboy, right? Wears a cowboy hat. Kind of an interesting character. All right, so my sources tell me you've been poking around inside the old community center. Why don't you pay me a visit? My chambers are west of the forest lake and the stone tower. I may have information concerning your, quote, rat problem. M. Rasmodius, wizard. Okay, yes, I will go pay you a visit. All right. So, back to the question, what do we do? What do we do if we're like, okay, I definitely know a lot more than this person about this thing we're gonna do together. I don't know everything that they need to know, and I don't know what it is they don't know. But I want to make sure they're gonna have a good time and not get freaked out when we all come out in like goblin costumes and put on weird voices because they've never played D&D before, and the closest experience they have to it is what they've seen in like sitcoms. What do you think? How should we deal with this situation? Yeah. So many good foraging things out today. I can get dandelions, horseradish. I'm so excited. I wish I could make dandelion salad in this game. That would be so nice. Or dandelion tea. Yeah. Right here? Yes. Yes! Okay, I'm visiting the wizard. Ah, come in. The wizard says, I am Rasmodius, seeker of the arcane truths. Mediary between physical and ethereal. Master of the 7 elements. Keeper of the sacred... You get the point. And you, Ariel, the one whose arrival I have long foreseen. Here, I'd like to show you something. Behold! What's a Junimo? You've seen one before, haven't you? They call themselves Junimos. Mysterious spirits, these ones. For some reason, they refuse to speak with me. Are you offended, wizard? Like, not everybody needs to talk to you. Especially when you're just teleporting them into your house without their consent. Like, why would they want to talk to you? They're probably terrified and annoyed. I'm not sure why they've moved into the community center, but you have no reason to fear them. You found a golden scroll written in an unknown language. Most interesting. Stay here. I'm going to see for myself. I'll return shortly. Okay, but what do you mean by return shortly? How long am I gonna just sit in your house? I wonder. Ah! Okay, you came back into the door. I found the note. The language is obscure, but I was able to decipher it. We, the Junimo, are happy to aid you. In return, we ask for gifts of the valley. If you are one with the forest, then you will see the true nature of this scroll. Well, I guess I'm not one with the forest because I didn't have the ability to read it. One with the forest. What do they mean? Wizard sniffing it, I guess? Aha! Come here. My cauldron is bubbling with the ingredients from the forest. Baby fern, moss grub, caramel top toadstool. Can you smell it? I don't know, but is it poisonous? If I smell it, will I be okay? If I inhale this? Here, drink up. Let the essence of the forest permeate your body. Is this gonna get me high? We'll see. Plus 38 energy, okay. Oh, but I'm feeling a little sick, it looks. Would've liked a little bit of a warning. Oh, yep. It's getting really high with the wizard. See a tree just floating in the sky. Nice. Really high with the wizard. Ooh. All right. These There's some intense pine trees. You've gained the power of forest magic. Now you can decipher the true meaning of the Junimo scrolls. Okay, cool. And now I'm outside. Okay. Fun times. Fun times. Okay. So you wrote here, read your RPG scenario. I perhaps start with a short practice game where what they do doesn't have any long-term consequences and they can always pause and ask questions. Yeah, good. And acknowledge that this is because you may not remember all the important things they need to know. It opens the door to share responsibility for things that may go awry later on due to me failing to inform them of something. Yeah, I did not consent to getting high, but you know, seems like it was a good trip, so I might still feel pretty upset about it, but luckily, for my personal taste, it seemed like it was a nice time. Look, there's a woodpecker. Yeah! Get that tree. Okay. Well, I think you got it. Basically, slow down, try to get more information. Yeah, so, Kettlesticks, sometimes it's impossible to know what people will need to know. Exactly. And I think sometimes just naming this can be really helpful. Just being honest with people. This might be weird. You might not be comfortable with everything, but we'll be there together and we can walk through things. If something makes you uncomfortable, here's how you can communicate it. I personally like the X card system. I forget who made it. If anybody knows, feel free to put it in chat. But it's like you put on little X on index cards and you have it on the table in front of you. And so if someone gets uncomfortable with anything that happens, anything at all, they can just tap the X card and the DM knows to like end the scene and you just transition to something else. And then later, if the person wants to explain what made them uncomfortable, they can, but they don't have to. And so I also think though, like, in my opinion, and what we usually say in our Consent Academy workshops is, when in doubt, just ask questions. When in doubt, slow down, right? Slowing down. Why can't I chop this wood? Oh, it's because I got my pickaxe out somehow. Thank you, Krellin. Yeah, so just slow down, you know, check in, that kind of thing. I've taught workshops on all different kinds of things, whether it's like meditation to flogging to, you know, how to do dance things to, anyway, I'm gonna stop before I get into oversharing territory. Maybe I already have. Anyway, I've had people who are like, yeah, I want to be in this workshop, and then I start to notice, it looks like they look a little overwhelmed, or it looks like they are lost. So I just slow down and check in with them. I always say, you know, like if you're feeling really tired or this is a lot for you, you can always go sit down or you can leave the class. I really make sure people know that they can always leave anytime and they don't need to explain why to me. Same is true of these streams. You don't have to stay. Even in Consent Academy classes, if you come and you're like, oh, this is getting too intense for me, or I'm bored, or I just don't feel like being here anymore, you have the right to leave and you don't have to explain it. But for people who are not sure of the limits that they're at or don't know where their limits are, so this is another thing with consent, is like, we don't all always know where our limits are going to be or what might trigger us or make us feel really overwhelmed or confuse us. And that doesn't necessarily mean we want to stop, right? Like there are times where I'm having really good fun and I have no idea what's going on and I feel way in over my head. I personally like being a little bit in over my head. And it can be really nice to just be given permission to kind of just be there for something. And like people check in with me and make sure I'm doing okay and like let me just say be an observer in something that I'm like, this is really cool, I'm not sure what's happening, I don't know how this works or whatever. And that can be really, really nice. And so there are lots of ways. Slow down, check in, ask questions. pay attention to, do people look comfortable? Has something shifted? Or, if you can't, you're not good at reading body language, or you can't see, you can also just try to notice, has their voice changed? Or are they suddenly talking a lot less? Are they, saying that everything's fine, but they sound like everything's not fine? And when you see incongruence, or hear incongruence, or feel it in like a gut sense, you can just check in. You can just say, like, hey, it seems like maybe this is a lot for you, or it seems like, something's up. Do you want to talk about it? And just do the best you can, right? Again, this is all risk reduction. It can't prevent it. I could be in a place where I'm feeling so like in my head, if I don't say yes to this, I'm never gonna make friends. I gotta just do it because I signed up to play in this D&D session, but like, I don't know what's happening. This is so outside my experience. And I could talk myself into a place where I get really disconnected from my own consent and my own boundaries. And I might say later, hey, I felt like this was not very consensual, and here's why. But that doesn't necessarily mean anybody did anything wrong, right? If we're all trying our best, if people checked in with me and I didn't have the ability to say I'm not super happy about this, it doesn't mean those people are bad people, but it also means we update our framework. We say, okay, what about it? If you're comfortable telling me, what about it made you uncomfortable? What could we do better next time? I just planted so many trees, so exciting. Yes. And that can be a really nice way to sort of do it. Yeah. But yeah, back to the wizard. I think the wizard's pretty cool, but definitely needs to practice consent a little bit more, because I didn't consent to getting high. Was not warned that it would get me high or give me forest magic. Maybe I don't want forest magic. What do you think, Mr. Wizard? Might be good to, ask. Yeah. So, totally different topic. Yeah, I'm out of energy already. Okay. Let's see if I can go say hi to a few people in town. Put some things in my chest. It's so hard at the beginning when you don't have much energy. Gotta find some of those star drops so I can have more energy to do things in the game. So anyway, it's the title I've put for this Stardew Valley Consent Academy series is, Stardew Valley and the meaning of community. And I picked that because, one, this game I think really is about community and, community health and revitalization, and how we all can play a part in that. Hey Harvey, say hi to me. Yes. Harvey says, we sell a few over-the-counter medicines at the clinic. Feel free to stop by if you're feeling exhausted. I know that being a farmer is pretty hard work. Don't overdo it. Yeah, I wish I could have starter ops Krellin in real life. It would be really nice. I think I do have the recipe for field snacks. I do, and I should probably have made some instead of just planting a bunch of trees. All right, let's say hi to Alex. Alex says, did you know I was an all-star quarterback in high school? It's true. So yeah, meaning of community. I would love to think about what do we mean when we say community? Because when I lived in Seattle, my experience was people really loved the word community and used it a lot. I mean, like a lot. And they would refer to like the needs of the community or what's best for the community. But then in reality, a lot of the time, my impression is that they meant community as the people I spend money with. And really, that was a lot of my experience as well. Like, I would get in Seattle priced out of friendships, right? Like, people would want to invite me to things, but it would be like, we're gonna go for like a 5-day trip to, Colorado to go skiing. And I'd be like, cool, I can't do that. That would be like half a year's salary for me to go do that. Like, I can't afford that. Hello, Cryptid Crow. No worries. And but welcome. So then, I would get priced out of friendships. I would be like, I want to be friends with these people. I like them. I want to make more of a connection. And then there was this big barrier. So to me, I felt like it was very hard for me to be in community with those people because we didn't have any ways in which there was any interdependence or interconnection or feel any sense of responsibility or obligation to each other. We were just kind of loosely connected through, we shared some of the same hobbies, and we would spend money in the same places sometimes. But over time, those people wouldn't think to include me in things, and not just me, like other people who didn't have the same kind of money. I mean, this is also partially classism, right? But it's all connected. And I think in something like Stardew Valley, we can see the ways in which all of these people, even though they're quite different, to me, this is community because there is a lot of interdependence. They need each other for things. And when one person is suffering in this community, it kind of hurts the entire town. And they're all really dependent on making the town work together. And I also think it could be better because I think there are lots of ways in which they're not looking out for each other enough. Anyway, Krell and Icy wrote, the only episode of Friends I really remember and liked was the one where the poor half of the friends had the intervention with the richer half about doing things like that. I don't remember this episode, but thanks for bringing it up because it sounds very relevant. If it was really community, the ones with money would be happy to spend for those without, but American culture doesn't really allow things like that. Yeah. And I think, though, it also still comes back to that example of my friend, or not friend, but acquaintance, who spent a lot of money. I totally did not listen to what Madhu said. That was kind of rude of me. I said hello to her. She says something to me. Didn't even read it. Okay, so Penny says hi. That's it. Okay. Oh, did you want something to be your friend? But that's going to take time. I got to build up that trust first. Let's go to the other beach. Let's see if we can find any cool seashells. Maybe I can make a seashell bra for old time's sake. Got some sea glass. Got a clam. Got another clam. Maru was taking a walk because she's stuck on a problem, clearing her head. Thank you, Krellin. Yeah, taking a walk is a really good way. I think this is also a good, to bring it back to consent practice tool. When we're unsure about things or when we're like overwhelmed by something, even when it comes to interactions with other people, taking a pause and walking away and like building your capacity back up is really helpful. Because remember the last time we talked about the sort of, hey Clint. Yep, I'm a blacksmith. Okay, anyway, we talked about the pillars of consent. Like the foundation is autonomy, the right to decide what happens with your body, your mind, your spirit, your information, everything connected to or extensions of you. Your autonomy ends where someone else's begins. I'm gonna go sit on the little, I don't know if this is supposed to be like a duck with a fancy tail, but anyway, my favorite place to sit in this game. And then on top of that is agency, the sort of power you have to act from your autonomy in any situation. And then we have the pillars. We have capacity. We have information understanding, agreement, buy-in, boundaries, and then power is sort of woven throughout all of it. And we can do things to, for example, raise our capacity, like giving ourselves time to calm down or to think through something or to, better understand what's going on in a situation. You need to give somebody a gift. Okay. I will try to give Mary Lewis a daffodil tomorrow because Kettlestick, I think it was, told me that Mary Lewis likes daffodils. And it very much was helpful. Could really go for a cauliflower. I'll pay you when you bring it, George. $525 on delivery, and George will be thankful. Yes, please. I don't know how many days I have for that. Let me see. 2 days. Well, we will see if this is possible. I don't know think the cauliflower takes 12 days. I could be wrong. We'll see. I'll go look. Otherwise, I won't be able to complete this for George. Oh no. I can't tell yet. I, did I even plant any cauliflower? Oh, who knows? Life of a farmer, just tired and confused. All right, it's bedtime in this game. So yeah, you know, reducing risk by increasing our capacity, like going to sleep when you're really tired. It's raining today, so I don't have to water. Yay! Fortune teller. Ah, I sense that a new viewer has joined us. A young lady from Stardew Valley. Welcome, welcome. The spirits are very happy today. They will do their best to shower everyone with good fortune. Nice. Let me see. Is this these are not necessary for the community center. So if you didn't know this, when you play this game, you see here, this is all the information about the community center is this little sort of tree icon. But if you put your cursor over something, if it's needed for the community center sign will flash. And it's really nice. Yeah, I don't think I have the mines yet, though. It is a good day to mine, and that's exactly what I would do, because I love going to the mines, but I don't think I have them yet. I can, however, get some parsnips and some potatoes. Yeah, I did plant cauliflower, but they're still small, so George will just have to not get what he's asking for. One thing that's tough about this game, though, is sometimes people will want things, and you'll be like, yeah, okay, I'll give it to them, and then later you miss it, and you think, okay, I'll give it to them anyway, and then they get annoyed because it's something they don't actually like. They just wanted it for the quest, and it's like you gave them something that they actually hate, and you're like, oh, why did you give this to me? And it's like, yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, I'm gonna sell these parsnips, and I'm gonna sell the couple of things I got from the ocean, even though I would like to save them for later. I need the money. Okay, so then, yes, oh, have I thought about whether I'm gonna smooch someone on this run? Yeah, I haven't picked who. I was thinking maybe Sebastian, um, but I don't know. And then I'm not familiar with the feature that notifies you if an item in your backpack is needed at the community center. That would have been really helpful. Now I'm just missing one item, a truffle. Yeah, it's really nice. When I discovered that, like if you need something when you put your cursor over it, it'll flash. It was pretty groundbreaking. Um, Cryptid crow, you say. I think I'm only missing one fish. I can't remember which fish though, unlike year 4 of my farm. It's hard to complete the community center. There's a lot. And then especially if you do like the remix version where it's like all kinds of different things, that can be really, really difficult. All right, let me see. In the community center, do I have all the information? No, I have just the crafts room so far. I can bring some forageables though. Let's see. Spring. All right, so I need a wild forest radish, a leek, dandelion, and a daffodil. I can probably do that. Mary Krobus. Yeah, I've thought about that one. It's really cool in this game. If you don't know, when you get married to somebody, you get a room in your house that's theirs, and everybody's got a different one. Oh, I'll actually give. Oh, I don't have a fancy daffodil, but I'll give the Mara daffodil. I thought this was a silver star daffodil, not a silver star dandelion. Anyway, yes, you can marry Krobus, and definitely, yeah, Krobus's room is really cool. Each person you can marry has a different cool room. Though Shane's is depressing. Um, let me see. Mara Lewis, where are you? Why not out of your house yet? It's only 8 a.m. Let's go say hi to Mara Lewis and give him this daffodil I found outside his house. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Will he let me in? It's probably locked. Nope, it's not locked. Hey, you are an early riser, Mister. Yes, that Lewis says, that's very nice of you, thanks. Woohoo! Let's see. How to win friends. I got 100 gold. Yay! Alright, and I still have to get to level 1 in farming. It's so hard when you don't have much money. Hey, Burrito Eclair. You're pretending to work right now? Yeah, I mean, me too. This is work. And it's also goofing off and hanging out and doing my favorite thing, which is talking. Okay, Lewis says, sniff, sniff. Ah, I sense you've been spending some time in the old community center. It's good to know someone's taking care of the place. Yeah. To Tiburon, I married Leah. She's the best spouse. She loves to farm. I also have a bow on the side in the game. Yeah, I've heard like you can actually technically date everybody, and if you do, something wild happens. But I don't know if I'm that much of a player. I don't know. Uh, I've only married Abigail, and I'm not gonna lie, I was stoked to have a gaming system and a guinea pig. Yeah. And Abigail, of course. Yeah, I mean, Abigail's pretty cool. I don't have any gems I can give her yet, though. Otherwise, I would be giving her, like, quartz every day. Alright. I think I can do the foraging bundle for spring. Let's see. I think it's this one. Yeah, spring foraging bundle. Alright. Got that. Gonna put the leek in. Gonna get the daffodil and the horseradish. Woohoo! Bundle complete. Did the first one on day 9 of the game. What did I get? I got 30 spring seeds. Heck yeah, I can go plant stuff now. Oh, taking the little bundle. Oh, and I can do the pantry now. And the fishies. Woohoo. I also have a friend crush on Abigail. I mean, I like pretty much everybody in this game. Like, they're all cool in their different ways. I mean, yeah, I love Junimos. They're so cute. I want to be their friend so bad. I'm just like forest magic and doing cute little things. They have such nice little arms and they make cute sounds. Yeah. Harvey is a drag? Oh, why do you think that? Tell me. All right, I'm gonna plant these spring seeds. I am so excited. Uh, oh, I also love watching the Junimos walk. They are so cute. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, Barantor, they do make them all have interesting quirks. He's always telling you to be careful not to get the flu to brush your teeth. I mean, like, as someone with ADHD, it's really nice to have somebody who, like, can have some of that executive functioning for me sometimes. Like, I will legit forget to eat for long periods of time. And so it's really nice that my partner will remind me and like ask me, did I eat something for lunch other than a scoop of peanut butter if I ate anything? And that's really nice. And so it can be good. It can be good. But if they were always sort of being kind of like paternal towards you, it would be, yeah, definitely a drag. It really depends on the like manner in which you're sort of doing that. And I don't want my partner to feel they have to parent me, but rather be a partner where it's like, yeah, I'm really good at a lot of things that my partner struggles with, and he's really good at a lot of things that I find difficult to remember to do. Yeah, caring about. Yeah, I do brush my teeth. I'm also particularly obsessed with flossing, partially because I'm a little bit of a masochist and it's always a little painful, but in a very pleasing way. So I'm like, yeah, I love flossing my teeth. Anyway, welcome to the oversharing channel, where I will just continuously overshare. Please enjoy. Um, anyway, yeah, I think they all have interesting quirks. He literally never has anything happy or fun to say. Yeah, that's too bad. You're probably right. I haven't really noticed that, but you're probably right. Maybe better than Shane with how sad Shane is all the time, because Shane is always just like, do you ever think that you could be the worst person who's ever lived? And I'm just like, oh my god, Shane, I want to give you a hug and get you some therapy, please. For some reason, I'm forgiving of George for the same issues, but it irks me with Harvey. Yeah, I wonder why that is, because I can see that. I think that, you know, George George is in like a particularly bad situation where he's had a lot of his agency taken away in ways that he didn't want, right? Like if you become a wheelchair user, there are ways in which you can regain a lot of that agency and like connect with your wheelchair and it feel really like a part of you. And also I think for George the agency loss of aging is really difficult for him, where he really feels like I can't do the things I used to be able to do, and therefore I'm really angry about it. I think there are a lot of people who approach aging in a oh, congrats, Cryptid Crow. Yeah. Shane is a I think that the person who made this game did a really interesting job of making it seem really cutesy and sweet and light, and then also like full of really intense social problems and things where people really need help. Look at that. I have 700 wood. That is pretty good savings. And but like doing so in a way that also feels respectful, where it's like, okay, everybody here is a full person and they're kind of fleshed out and you can get to know them and like respect them. And I wish that there were more. I wish that there were just like updates and expansions. Yeah. Okay. I love the sound effects in this game. They are very cute. Yeah. All those little pops when you pick things up, which is very, very pleasing. All right, I need to remember the field bars and to stop just planting every tree as soon as I get seeds. To go back to George, Cryptid Crow, you're saying, to go back to George, agency and consent when it comes to disabled folks is such an important topic. Yeah. The way that folks treat me in a public shifted immensely after I started using a mobility aid. Yeah. Yeah. I think that there is an interesting scene that comes up with George in this game where George is struggling to get something and then gets helped without the person asking. And I think that that's a really touchy thing, because it's like, I think people mean well, but you have to respect that, like, one, not everybody wants help, and that's completely valid. You don't have to want help all the time. And that you should always ask for help first. I think a big thing is like sometimes people think, oh, I'm gonna just like help this person across the street who is blind, and they just grab the person, which can really throw them off balance. And especially if they're not expecting it and you didn't ask, and it can be really upsetting and difficult, and just don't do it. Just always ask first and accept it when they say no. And there's, I think, always this balance between thinking about how you would react if you had this sudden change in your life, because you're only used to like your experience of your own life and how you live things, and then also assuming that that's the other person's experience as well. um, and Barantor, you wrote, I'm wondering how the upcoming game Haunted Chocolatier, and if it'll have some of the same feeling as Stardew. Yeah, I'm excited for that game. Partially because I love chocolate. Cryptid Crow, like people just touched my rollator, or me, it kicks it chaps my khakis. Yeah. I'm curious and excited to see. Yeah. Yeah, it's really tough when people just feel like they have the right to touch you because of whatever. It's similar with like hair. Like I've definitely been in situations where, people feel entitled to just go touch, say, a black woman's braids, or, there are places in the US, if you're indigenous and you have very traditional, so sort of very long hair, people will just come up behind you and like start being like, "Oh, you have such beautiful native hair. My grandmother was a great grandmother was like a Cherokee princess," and like, "Oh, if only I'd gotten your hair." And it's weird. And then like when I lived in Japan, people would do that to me a lot as well, and just be very curious about if my hair texture was different than theirs, or my high school students would come up and just grab my breasts because they wanted to know if they were real or not, because they were surprised at how big my breasts are, and they would just be like, "Real?" And I would just be like, "I know that like same gender touching in this country is like very normalized and seems completely non-sexual, like just kind of this pervasive cultural let's pretend and forget that gay people exist." And so, and also there's like not a lot of like respect for bodily boundaries in Japan, but it was so strange to have like my teenage students just coming up and like squeezing my boobs. And I just have to be like, "Please don't do that. No, thank you." Okay, Clint says here, today would be a good day to explore the mines. Who knows, you might find some rare ores. I'm pretty sure I don't have the mines yet. Barantor said, I have made a friend, or I have a friend I made because I asked her if she needed help getting her mobility aids out of her car, and she was so blown away I asked. She had a lot of bad experiences with folks just helping but not asking. Yeah. So that's definitely the thing. Like, there are times where help is really nice, but I always want people to ask, and I always try to ask. And there's also like interesting opposite things that can happen where like my partner has some eye problems that make it so sometimes he can't see because of like damage, and so he'll need to keep his eyes sort of taped shut for long periods of time. And we would like want to go for walks and stuff, and he would have like clearly like big sunglasses on to protect his eyes from the sunlight, and it would be clear that he couldn't see and that I was guiding him. We eventually got a cane, and people would just try to play chicken with us basically, and like try to walk right into us and be like, "Hey, I'm walking here." And it's like, "Yeah," and like I can't move out of the way that fast. I don't know what to tell you. Uh, Share the sidewalk. Um, Cryptid Crow said, I, up until the pandemic, have always had funky hair. And I also have heaps of tattoos and visible piercings. I also have heaps of people just touch my tattoos or my piercings or grab my ear weights. It's just so yucky to touch folks without their consent. Yeah, it's just weird. It really is weird. And like, even with my students in Japan, I understood that oh, I finally level 1 in farming. Yes. It takes so long. You just have so little money at the beginning, and it just takes so long to get any, and you only level up farming really, from what I understand, from harvesting, not from planting or hoeing or watering, just from when you harvest. And so it's like one of the harder ones to level up. Oh, and level 3 foraging. So I got tappers, which is great because tappers are essential for all of the ways to make money decently in this game. Because we're gonna make lots of preserves and juices and lots of, we're gonna be like Napa Valley, basically. It's raining again, so I wish that I could, let's see, did I miss a queen of sauce? Stir fry. Yeah, I already know how to cook stir fry. Nope. Fortune teller. Spirits are in good humor today. I think you'll have a little extra luck. Okay. Okay, well, the very good point is I can make a scarecrow now. I think I only need wood for this. I might need wood and coal and fiber. Okay, more than I expected. All right, 1 coal and a bunch of fiber. I'm just gonna take it all. Let's make a scarecrow. Very useful. And I'm gonna put it down. Scarecrows are very cute. Let's say right here. Okay, nice. What else am I gonna get up to today? Because I can't harvest anything. I don't need to water anything. I don't think I have any quests that I can really do. Raising animals. I don't really have the money yet. I am at 1,000 gold though. That's amazing. Build a coop. I don't know if I want to do that yet. I could buy some more seeds. That would be a pretty good idea. Oops. These are all going to be finished before the end. Yeah, let me just buy some more seeds, and I think I'm going to go fishing today. I like the fishing minigame in this game. So when I first played it, I was very like grumpy about it because it was really difficult. And I was playing with my friends, and I was like convinced that my controller was like broken or something, or like my mouse wasn't working. And I was like, I don't know what's wrong. I can't do it. And now I'm like, oh, this game is so much fun. It takes so long for the shops to open. Okay. Need carp for a project I'm working on. Sam. Let me see if I can get carp. I doubt it. I really doubt it. But, we'll see. Maybe I can. Yeah, fishing mini games are fun. It's great how much you love fishing. Nobody ever likes it that much. Yeah, I really like it. I really like it. And it's a nice challenge. I definitely had a hard time with the fishing at first. I think it's quite difficult. But it's a nice challenge, and it's just so funny, like, how much more difficult it is at the early levels than as you get better at it. Ugh, ugh. Y'all gonna watch me fail. Come on. Come on. See, do I get it? No, 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 no. No. Ah! Oh my goodness, doing this with a mouse is also kind of hard, though. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is definitely a practice level because it did not go down when I wasn't over the fish. So next time won't be as good. All right, Pierre's is open. I'm gonna buy some more seeds. Yeah, I've seen a lot. Cryptid, I've seen a lot of people. Oh no, it's Wednesday. It's closed on Wednesdays. Okay. All right. Well, we're just gonna go fishing up at the lake. I've seen a lot of people online talk about getting a fishing mod for this game. Apparently they introduced the training rod because so many people had trouble with fishing. I always go for the fishing mini games. Heckin' Wednesday, yep. Wednesdays, it's difficult. It's difficult to remember all the rules in this game. I have like probably 150 hours in this game at this point, but usually I'm just like vibing with my friends. And so I'm not necessarily always very good at it. I'm just like chilling and running around and doing stuff. All right. Let's see. Like catch a fish. Okay, so let's think of another scenario for consent. Because I think it's good to think through things in daily life with scenarios. So one of my favorite scenarios to start with is always like, imagine you're walking down the street and a stranger comes up to you and they say, my cell phone died. I really need to make a quick phone call. Could I borrow your phone? I think that a lot of us have had this experience of someone we don't know wanting to borrow something that belongs to us, like our phone. And it's pretty understandable. Ugh, the fish got away. It's pretty understandable, right? This whole somebody needing to make a phone call and their phone died. You know, it happens. And if you really are stuck in a place where, like, you can't get picked up, for example, you can't get home, you can't do whatever without, oh my goodness, yep, without making a phone call, it's going to be really tough. You're going to have to rely on strangers. But if you're the person being asked, it's interesting to think of, like, what would you need in order to feel comfortable consenting to this? Like, let's say you were going to consent. I know some people are like, I would never say yes to that. But let's imagine you might say yes to this. What would you need in order to feel comfortable saying yes to this? Like, for me, previously, I always just had like pretty crappy cell phones because I tend to think there might be a little bit of lag on my end of the game. But anyway, uh, because I would drop my phone a lot. I'm a kind of a clumsy person. It's pretty common. ADHD also includes like motor difficulties, and especially being clumsy and stuff is pretty common with ADHD. And so I drop things a lot. So I didn't really want to have a very fancy cell phone ever because I'm always afraid of dropping it and breaking it and not having the money to get it fixed. And also I don't want to be wasteful. And so I would just get like the cheapest possible smartphone that I could find. Oh my goodness. This is so bad. Okay. Uh, and just have that. So I would have like a smartphone that cost me like 30, 40 bucks, like a really old Moto E or something. And so if some stranger wanted to borrow my phone, I would just be like, I back my photos up pretty regularly. So if they stole it, whatever. But obviously that's not the case for everybody. And now my mom a few years ago got me a slightly nicer phone for my birthday, and so I would be more careful in that sense. Yeah, cryptid. I would need to know that they weren't going to steal my phone. Yeah. So what are some ways that we could like say yes but to this? Right. We could say yes. There's always the whole improv yes anding things, but you can say yes, but you can also say no and or no but. Um, oh my goodness, this fishing is hard. Yes, but I'm going to hold my phone and put it on speakerphone. Yeah, I think that's a really good one. Yeah, like I'll dial the number for you. Other questions though, I would definitely have questions like, you know, who are you going to call and how long? Like if they were like, oh no, I really need to make some private call or something. Because I've lent someone my phone once before, and it was to yell at. They called someone to yell at their ex, basically. And so like I was standing there for like 20 minutes waiting for my phone back while they were just like having a fight with their ex about something, and I was like, well, okay. And it's difficult. Yeah, Lo-Fi Prince. I had this phone situation happen to me as the person stuck. Was one of the most socially anxious things to ask a stranger to use their phone. Yeah, it is difficult. All right, my inventory is full. So maybe that's enough fishing for today. I'm kind of really bad at it. I think that there's a little bit of lag. I think I maybe changed some settings in OBS that's making it a little bit rough. Could also just be though that I need to level up fishing more. I'm just that bad at it. But anyway, yeah, it's tough. Like when you are in such a bad position like that, you really have to rely on other people. And so we could also increase the likelihood of people saying yes by saying, giving more information and being really explicit and making sure they know we're not going to call internationally or whatever. So Linus says, a warm rain is a pleasant way to get clean. It is. It's very nice. Oh, you stopped using smartphones and switched back to the Nokia bricks. Nice. I think that, yeah, I went many, many years without a smartphone, and it was actually kind of nice. Oh, right, my inventory's full. I'm gonna throw away this clay, because I want these forageables more. Is this also gonna be full? No. Okay, I'm gonna go put things away, and then I'm gonna come back. Yeah. Anyway, it's slow going. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! What is that? I've never seen that before. What is that? Probably something I can pickaxe. Whoa, a bunch of cherry bombs. This is so cool. Look at my tiny farm. This is so cute. Tiny little farm. All right. So we're gonna put the things in the chest and then go pick up those forageables and pick up the cherry bombs. I just got on the beach. That's really nice. Yes. Yeah, I heard that you could get things occasionally that wash up on the beach in this game, but I didn't imagine it was going to be cool like that. Alright, let me check what I needed the community center and the pantry because spring crops bundle. Okay. Green beans soon, so I'll need to save a potato, a cauliflower, and a parsnip. Hopefully I have all of those planted. I should, when it's not when it's not Wednesday, tomorrow I'll go buy one more of each of these, though I'm pretty sure green beans I'm good on because I got the trellis. Just isn't ready yet. But that'll be nice because then I can get that crops bundle done pretty quickly, hopefully. I had those spring seeds that are all kind of mystery seeds as well. And I planted some mixed seeds as well. So we'll see. Alright, I'm gonna try fishing on this beach. I've never done that. Hello, welcome to the stream. I got seaweed, nice. Alright. Will I catch anything? Other than seaweed? Oh. Ooh. Oh my goodness. I'm so bad at this fishing. It's so bad. Okay, okay. It always feels weird to be like done with the day so early, simply because I don't have much energy left or whatever. I hate it feels so weird because I'm used to like needing to squeeze every drop of time out of the day in this game. And then so like going to bed when it's only like 9 or 10 because I can't do anything else is so strange because I'm like, oh, there's so many more things I need to do today. Alright, chop down some trees. Yeah. missed the tree entirely. Alright, nice. Yeah, that's such a pleasing sound. Such a pleasing sound. It's kind of cute when the butterflies come out of the trees, but I always get kind of sad when, like, the frog leaves the grass or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, dude. I did not mean to destroy your house. In my last place in Seattle, there was a, like, some hummingbirds that nested in this pine tree in my front yard. Because I was renting this really small house that was owned by the temple I used to be a monk at in Seattle, and I would get really stressed because I was always kind of sure that the people running the temple who owned the house were going to just want to cut that tree a lot, but there were all these hummingbird nests in it, and a lot of them are like endangered or protected, and I knew that there was no way that they were gonna like, that was too much sort of administrative stuff, and they would need to like do a lot of work, and it was really hard for them to have the time and the resources to do that. So I was very like, oh man, I really hope that those when they have people come to trim the trees or whatever, they're careful and look for the hummingbird nests. And I get reminded of that every time I like am hoeing or whatever, not hoeing, scything, and like a little frog runs out. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Lost my favorite axe. If you find it, please return it ASAP. I'm having a tough time without it. There's 250 gold in it for whoever finds the thing. I can do that because I know where the axe is. At least I think I do. I know. I'll go there after I water these crops. Oh, yeah. Part of the reason we bought the house we did is because of the trees in the front yard. Yeah. It's so nice. We have the apartment that I live in now, we rented it because outside of this window here, there's like a courtyard, and it had this really, really beautiful big tree in it. And then we could see on the other building that they had this like rooftop garden that had like a really old cherry tree, and it had these really beautiful pink blossoms in the spring, and there was like all this ivy, and it was like a huge habitat for so many birds. Like you could just hear them, and it was really nice, and it really like increased the sort of biodiversity. And this was a big, like the thing we were looking for in apartments was both would they let us get cats, and then also if we could see trees. Like I like living in cities, but I want to be able to see trees. And we made it through 1 year, and then they like topped the tree here, so like the top of the tree is all like mangled and there's almost no leaves on it anymore, and it like it's right at the eye level for me when I'm looking at the window of like this really sad mangled tree. And I asked the landlord so much about the health of the tree, and are they gonna have to do that? Are they gonna have to chop down a bunch of the tree? And she was like, no, it should be fine. Like we did that a few years ago, and you can see, and nothing will need to change. And so I really was like, okay, like this is why we're gonna pick this place over this other place where we were like had a park, like a big public park, just sort of like across the street, but we were on this little like dead end street, so it was really nice because we could just out of all of our windows see this park. But that was like slightly more expensive because we would have had to pay like an agency fee and stuff. Anyway, we picked this place because of the tree, because it was much nicer, and now it's not there. And then the people across the way who had this rooftop with these beautiful trees, really, really stunning cherry tree, chopped it all down, and they put in this like really ugly like rooftop terrace, and then they covered the side with solar panels, which, you know, like that can be nice, but it also means all of the pretty stuff is gone. So I was pretty bummed about that, because I was like, this is the whole reason why I picked this place. All right, so I see the kids. They're at the sewer. Yes, smells. Ew, it smells. Vincent, ... Why is it locked? I want to explore the sewers. It's locked for your safety, probably. Yeah, it says, I think Gunther has the key. Professor Gunther, the man who runs the museum? Why do you think he has it? Yeah, it says, I saw a big, rusty, old key fall out of his pocket one time. A creepy sewer door like this has just got to be a match for a big, rusty, old key. I feel like it's big, old, rusty key is the correct order of adjectives. Big, old. Big, rusty, old key. I'm not sure. This feels awkward to say it in that way. There's something moving around in there. Yeah, it says. I'm gonna go investigate it. Dot, dot, dot. Ah! What is that sound? Yeah, it might work if they put a comma in. All right. Oh my goodness. Look at all of this forageable goodness here. There's so many dandelions and spring onions. I can't really do anything with them yet other than eat them raw, but this is amazing. I love it. I'm so happy. Oh, there's another one. Yes. I love foraging in real life and in this game. There's the axe. Woohoo! Yes. Better return it to Robin. Yep. Oh, stuck on a bush. Yes. Yes. It's hard to not want to just walk around and forage all the time. I like foraging in real life, but it's hard to be able to do it when you live in a city and don't have a car to go out into the woods. Or when you live in an area that you don't really know the nature yet. Oh, yes, there's another thing that washed up. I have to go through this maze of trees I made myself. Let's see. More cherry bombs. Pretty cool. That'll be so useful when we go to the mines eventually. But not yet. Oh, no, I don't want to sell these things. I want to put them in my chest. I'm going to add the spring onions. That's pretty good. And I'm going to bring the axe to Robin. Oh, while I'm there, yeah, maybe I should make a coop. I don't remember if I need like wood or rocks or fiber or coal, so I'm just gonna bring it all with me just in case, so I don't have to go and come back. And you must not need any like copper bars or anything, because I feel like if you needed that, you wouldn't get this quest until after you had the mines open. Oh yeah, found a lost book. The library has been expanded. See, this is one of the things that's cool. Like, public things are a really good way to actually like have that interdependence of community. So like a library, like a public library is really good, or a community center is really good. And if you weren't here for the last stream, and you can watch my last stream, you can hear me rant about why Joja Cola is the worst. I'm gonna really want a kitchen. How much is it? Nope. Nowhere close to that. Okay. I'm gonna construct farm building. Let's see if I can even do this. Nope. Not even close to a coop. Oh my goodness. I have the wood and the stone, but I'm like, need so much more gold. Okay. I could do a well, but I don't really need a well right now. I will later, maybe. Okay. Well, I'll just give you your axe, girl, and then I'm gonna go to Pierre's. Hey, you found my axe. What a relief. I almost chopped my toe off with the other one I was using. Thank you. Alright. Glad you didn't chop your toe off. That would be unfortunate. Will the coop bring Sam a carp? I don't think I'm gonna be able to build him to bring them a carp. I'm not good enough for fishing in this game. Probably not happening. Really, probably not happening. Well, I'm gonna get some seeds to make sure I can do this this next community bundle this season. In later seasons, I always like to buy extra seeds for everything and save them. So just in case I need something later. Yeah, I should try the training rod. So I just am using the bamboo pole. All right, I'm gonna sell this horseradish. I needed a parsnip. Gonna make sure I have one of those to sell. I know I have beans, a cauliflower, and a potato for the community center, so that'll be good. Have that. Don't have any money to buy trees yet, which is sad because I love having a little orchard. And then even though it doesn't do anything, it's fun to have little beehives around the orchard and just think of oh, this instead of wild honey, this would be orange blossom honey. All right, Elliot. Hello, Ariel. Yeah, you're also a redhead, so we can be friends. Are you well? Mm-hmm. Thank you. I mean, I guess maybe he's a brunette. It's kind of hard to tell. But I feel like there are a lot of redheads in this town. Yeah, I should get the training rod because this one is too difficult. All right. Pretty sure I have all these things planted already in plenty, but just in case, I want to get one more of each so I can make sure at the end I can do the community center. All right, and then I'm gonna try to save some of this money because I can't really buy any nice crops right now because I don't have the desert, so I can't go. I just missed with my watering can. Yep. It's tough, this town is so depending on me in some ways to revitalize it, and that means I have to make smart financial decisions, which is hard because you can't always predict the future. So I'm I don't know which ones are going to be the smart decisions, but here we go. And I can't wait for the mines to be open so I can start getting things, start upgrading my equipment. Yeah, it's going to take a lot longer to make progress in a solo game than it does in a co-op game that you're playing with others. But just the power of community, right? You have friends, you can do a lot more together than you can alone. Thank you all for dealing with my never-ending cheesiness of the power of community. I just watered those worms instead of hoed them up, but anyway. All right. I don't want to chop down every tree yet. I know I planted a bunch. Yeah, you're right, Kettlestick. One thing that is nice is that when you pause, you can pause when you're in the menu in the single player. It is nice. It is nice. All right, so then let's think about another scenario and consent. So let's imagine, you have a friend who's a pretty good driver, and they're a good driver, you've driven with them many times, and they don't have a car and you do, And sometimes they ask to borrow your car to go run errands. Well, let's say like one time they bring it back and it's got a bunch of scratches and like a small dent on the back. So you did not consent to them getting into any kind of accident, and it probably is an accident, right? But what would you want in this situation to sort of repair the sort of consent of this relationship there? So I just realized somehow it's already been almost 2 hours. I don't know when that happened because I'm having so much fun hanging out with all of you. It's been so lovely. So we've got about 5 minutes left before I have to go because I have other work I have to do. So then let's leave with thinking on that. Like, let's say that that happened. You lent your friend your car. You were happy to do it. They're a good driver, but they bring it back one time and they haven't said anything to you, but you know, maybe it's okay, maybe whatever. It doesn't matter that they haven't said anything yet, but you just notice that it's got a bunch of scratches on the back. It looks like maybe they backed up into like a bush or a chain link fence. You're not quite sure, but definitely, oh no, I'm sluggish from overexertion. I'm gonna walk slowly back to the house. Um, but you just, what would you want from your friend? Yes, Cryptid Crow, we can have a meeting in 5 minutes. I realized I got the time zones wrong. I was thinking you were like on the East Coast, and then I was like, wait a second, no. Um, so yes, just use the link that I sent you, and that should be fine. All right. All right, I'm gonna crawl into bed. So tired. Oh no. Go to sleep for the night. All right. So, thank you all for joining me today. It's been lovely to hang out with all of you. Thank you for listening and engaging in chat with me. And thank you for joining me for these 2 hours. I will be back next Tuesday, same time. So 4 to 6 p.m. Central European Time, 7 to 9 a.m. if you're on the west coast of the United States or Canada. Um, and it was really lovely to hang out with all of you and spend time together. If this is your first time here and you enjoyed it, please feel free to follow. We stream every Sunday with an interview stream where we talk about consent and different contexts, and then every Tuesday when I play Stardew Valley. So, thank you all for joining me, and see you next week.